Big name wide receivers for the divisional playoffs. Who are they? Well, if you're playing in a postseason league or on DraftKings, SI's fantasy analyst Michael Fabiano is here to break down the receivers to start and sit. Fabs, let's start with the playmakers that you want in your lineup this week.
Kaitlin, this one's a little weird for me because I don't typically talk about Michael Thomas in a start him and sit him video because he's mostly a must start. But he scored his first touchdown of 2020 last week. And it wasn't even 2020, it was 2021. That's how bad he was this past year. But he's got the Buccaneers coming up, should be a high scoring game. He has owned Tampa Bay in his career. In 9 meetings, Thomas has averaged nearly 21 fantasy points per game against the Buccaneers. This should be a high-scoring affair. Start Michael Thomas. And in that same game, Antonio Brown, another former fantasy football stud. He's averaged nearly 24 fantasy points over his last 3 games. Once again, DK Sportsbook has the over-under here at 51.5. New Orleans has allowed 14-plus fantasy points to 8 wide receivers in its final 4 regular season games. Antonio Brown and Tom Brady have certainly got a great connection. I think AB should put up a nice stat line for the 4th game in a row.
All right, well, let's pivot and talk about the wide receivers that you don't expect to have a lot of production this weekend. Who are they?
I would say beware Jarvis Landry, and he's been on fire. I mean, look at his numbers, 16-plus fantasy points in 5 of his last 6 games. He's clearly the number 1 option in the passing game for Cleveland. But Kansas City's allowed 15 touchdowns and the 2nd fewest fantasy points to wide receivers. And slot receivers have averaged fewer than 4 catches per game when facing the Chiefs. So I'm not telling you that Landry's going to be an absolute bust, but I would probably temper my expectations for Jarvis. And then Cooper Kupp. Now, last week, he's dealing with a bit of bursitis in his knee. He was not able to finish the contest. But this week, he's got Green Bay. Regardless of the health of his knee, I'm not playing Kupp against the Packers. They gave up the 4th fewest fantasy points to wide receivers overall. Slot receivers average just over 4 catches a game against them. And Jared Goff's got the bum thumb. So I do not trust Cooper Kupp in this game. I think Green Bay will win this game going away. I am not a big fan of the LA Rams passing game. It's all Cam Akers. I'm fading Cooper Kupp.
Sounds like a really good idea. Tough matchup. Fabs, thank you so much for joining me. Guys at home, if you want more insight and, of course, Sports Illustrated's award-winning weekly player rankings, make sure you get your membership to SI Fantasy Plus for just $14.99 a month.